The Uvalde community woke up bright and early this morning to lace up their shoes and run for a cause. Our Devin Karp spent the morning at Lexi's Legacy Run to see how the community is honoring the victims of the Robb Elementary School shooting and supporting one another.
Thank you all so much for coming out. This is the largest turnout we've had, and I hope you felt like we spoke to y'all when y'all were running. I know I did, and again, thank you so much.
Any day that we get to come out here and get to spend the morning out with the girls, it's a beautiful day. I love coming out here.
It might not be a birthday party in the way you'd expect, but on Saturday morning, families, kids, and even some four-legged friends
Good job, buddy.
all came together to celebrate and honor the victims of the Robb Elementary shooting.
We wanted to honor Lexi on her first birthday after the tragedy, and since I'm no longer planning her birthday, I want to plan something, keep my mind busy, and honor her in the best way I can. And for me, that is putting your best effort and your best foot forward.
The turnout is so great. I'm glad that the community is coming together for a great cause.
These kids were part of our lives. They were part of this community, and they are representing this community, and we're trying to help that, and we're trying to make sure that they are never forgotten.
It's Lexi. She's competitive, she's athletic, she was a sweetheart, and that's what I want to do, and also spreading awareness of gun violence and gun violence prevention. Lexi's basketball team came together. They had their own jerseys. We have her teacher here. It's special. It's a way to remember and honor Lexi, all 21 lives, honestly, and remember them for more than just a tragedy.
It kind of gives you hope for a community. We've had so many problems in the past, so much division, that seeing the community come together is great.
Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
And it's so amazing that we continue to cover Uvalde. Good news, bad news. Devin shared with me that they were grateful that we were there covering the event and not just when it's a news headline of something going wrong or more information from documents being released. So we're happy to be out there, and it looked like an amazing event for sure.
And it looked pretty beautiful this morning. I mean, yeah, it was still a little muggy, but JP, it is going to be a little bit of a difference as you're waking up tomorrow. And here's why. It's because we saw that cool front moving through, and it's still just to the north, and we're not expecting the cold temperatures associated with the normal stereotypical cold front. But what this cool front is actually going to do is it did bring some heavy rain and even some thunderstorms to most of the country. In fact, even up in Austin, they saw some nice rainfall totals. But for us, as that cool front continues to move through San Antonio tonight, behind it, that's what's going to be the little bit of a change for the weather pattern tomorrow. Now, as you're waking up, what you see, those little quick lines tomorrow morning on the Futurecast, those are going to be the winds. Now, yes, tomorrow afternoon will still be sitting at least a few degrees cooler for our afternoon temperature, only getting to about 87 degrees, even the low 80s for portions of the hill country. But what that cool front is actually going to do for us in San Antonio is give us some stronger winds. Now, tomorrow morning, right before sunrise, we're expecting still maybe some slightly breezier winds, but then the cooler air associated with that cool front and really the winds associated with it will continue to start to increase. Now, how strong? Well, we're talking about maybe having 40-mile-an-hour winds tomorrow, and they're really going to pick up right around sunrise tomorrow, continue throughout the morning, and even by around lunchtime. We're still seeing wind gusts up to 30 miles an hour. It finally starting to decrease in the afternoon, but even then, they're going to still be a little on the stronger side throughout Monday and even throughout the rest of the week, seeing wind gusts up to about 20 to even 25 miles an hour. And with the possible gusts up to 40 miles an hour tomorrow, there is that chance for some elevated fire risks, especially for San Antonio, just to the east near New Braunfels, even over all the way to Houston, because the winds are going to be stronger, and we're also going to see that humidity and those levels really start to decrease. So it is going to be really dry as well. And the reason we're also still going to be at risk is we haven't received any rain. In fact, we've received little rain over the last few months, so everything's been allowed to really dry out over the last few months across South Central Texas and across Texas in general. So we're going to continue to see the dry weather and the warmer temperatures, and there's really no relief expected as we go throughout the next few days, and really as we expect no relief over the next 7 days for any sort of rain chances for San Antonio, especially because this was the latest drought monitor that we saw this week. The extreme drought, that red color, that continued to expand all the way from San Antonio through Seguin, even up towards Austin. We saw the drought monitors really continue to extend. Now, sad news, we're not expecting any sort of rain chances over the next 7 days. Tonight was the only chance we really saw for any sort of rain chances over the next 7 days. What we do, and the good news we do have, and I can tell you, is that Monday morning, yes, some folks will still be sitting a little on the cooler side, so we might be waking up for some folks in the 50s Monday morning, and then in the afternoon, there is still that small risk for some fire danger, so please be advised on if there is or isn't a burn ban for your county.
And even if there isn't, just be mindful when we have this type of weather and the dry conditions, you know, dispose of cigarettes the right way, be careful with dragging chains, anything that might cause any sparks.
Correct.
Thanks for that, Shelby. Looking over at sports, today was one heck of a day when it came to college football. Texas Tech, top 10 Texas team, they fell. Texas A&M, another top 10 Texas team, they snuck out of there.
Yes, they did. Barely got away unscathed. They are 7-0 for the first time since '94. Yeah, big college football Saturday. We'll show you how the Aggies did it and more highlights and scores coming your way. And the Spurs sweep the preseason. Victor Wembanyama tells us the secret to San Antonio's success after the break.
It was fun, you know, to play against these teams and fun to compete in training camp, but this time we're ready.
The Spurs feel and look good ahead of their regular season opener in big board sports. All right, we start in Fayetteville, Arkansas. The nation's 4th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies looking for their first 7-0 start since 1994. First quarter, A&M first to get in the end zone. Marcel Reed with a dime to white out Ashton Bethel Romaine at 7-3 Aggies. Not a whole lot of defense in this game. Expiring first half when Arkansas QB Talon Green scrambles and he fires a touchdown strike to Omega Blake. Texas A&M led 21-20 at halftime. Now Aggies answer right out of the intermission. Reed to Casey Concepcion for the 17-yard TD connection. It's 28-20. But after another Arkansas touchdown, Reuben Owens II stepping in place of Le'Veon Moss with a 14-yard rushing score. Back to a 2-score game. The Razorbacks will not go away, though. They outscore A&M 15-7 in the fourth quarter, but the Aggies did just enough to preserve their lead. A&M is now 7-0 overall. Now, number 7, Texas Tech, also undefeated entering the week, and no room for error in the Big 12. The Red Raiders at Arizona State. ASU up 9-7 in the third when Sam Levitt connects with Jordan Tyson for the touchdown, extending the Sun Devils' lead to 9. Now under 4 to play in the fourth quarter. Will Hammond in for an injured Baron Morton. Hammond running it in himself. Now Texas Tech trailing 19-14. And ASU punting on 4th and 17. The punt is short. Coy Eakin returns it for 36 yards. Then Hammond finds Reggie Virgil for 6. Texas Tech goes up 22-19 after a 2-point conversion. 38 seconds remaining now. Arizona 2nd and goal. Raleek Brown, he rushes it in for the touchdown. And ASU never looked back. They upset Tech 26-22. All right, moving on, UTSA at North Texas. The Roadrunners coming off of a 61-13 win at Rice, and UTSA opens up the game with a 3-play, 75-yard scoring drive. Big thanks to this explosive Robert Henry Jr. run. But the Mean Green respond in a big way. 17 unanswered points to close out the first quarter. Now second quarter, Henry Jr., he turns on the Jets for the 3-yard rushing score. Henry racked up 138 yards along with that touchdown. However, from there, North Texas took over. QB Drew Mestemaker threw for 277 yards and 4 touchdowns as the Mean Green improved to 6-1 with a 55-7 win. All right, chaos in the Texas game, but the Longhorns prevail in overtime, winning by a field goal over Kentucky to improve to 5-2, and Texas State falling in a heartbreaker to Marshall. They fall to 3-4 in double overtime. Also, UTRGV also falling in dramatic and heartbreaking fashion to Lamar. And we have Trinity beating Rhodes today 63-0. They improved to 5-1 in D3. And TLU beat Hendricks 50-48 to improve to 3-3.
We've went undefeated in this preseason, and most of the high minute guys haven't played in the fourth quarter really. So it shows that our second and third units have been present and have done a great job because they've went undefeated.
Victor Wembanyama, who's going on year 3 in the NBA, they're giving credits to the continuity within the Spurs roster and the depth as to why San Antonio went 5-0 in the preseason. And while that's all true, the Spurs do boast a much more well-rounded roster this year. More notably, it's Wembanyama who's made a noticeable jump in his game, his footwork, his strength, playmaking, all of that, making it so the league should be very scared. San Antonio opens up their 2025-26 regular season on Wednesday in Dallas. And hey, coming up later in this show, we have highlights from the rest of the Saturday Week 8 BG slates. We have Madison versus Johnson, Clark versus Brandeis, and Sotomayor versus Tack. And you know we'll be talking Cowboys ahead of their game tomorrow, JP.
Looking forward to it. And you mentioned it. The Spurs team it's exciting again. It's something I'm looking forward to this NBA season to start. Checked out one preseason game. That's when they beat the Jazz in OT. That felt like a regular season atmosphere.
It did.
I know everybody's getting hyped up, getting ready for it, so looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for that, Mary. All right, still ahead on the Nightbeat, students in a West Side charter school are changing the way they eat lunch. Later, we take you to the school's outdoor classroom. And coming up, Justin Horn gives us a history lesson into the origins of town names you probably drive through on a regular basis. Find out how Bernie, Poteet, and more got their names after the break. Everything has a name, from humans to dogs to hurricanes. Names are important. That may even be more true when it comes to cities and towns. And South Texas has no shortage of history. Over the years, Justin Horn has traveled all over Texas through all of these small towns that you're about to see, and always just keeps wondering, how did that town get its name? Well, he tells us tonight in this episode of KSAT Explains.
Asking if South Texas is interesting is like asking if the cedar tree is allergy-inducing. Of course it is. And so interesting, in fact, that they've made movies about it.
Hollywood thought it was perfect too, filming the movie 7 Days in Utopia here, starring Robert Duvall.
And borrowed intersecting streets for hit songs.
This town is home to the corner of First and Amistad. It doesn't look like much, but it's the only intersection in the country with that name. And if it sounds familiar, there's a good reason for that. Yes, it's the intersection made famous in the 2009 song, You Found Me by The Fray.
That was in Quemado, where the origins of the town, which translates to burned or scorched, isn't quite certain. But there are multiple theories.
It was because the Spaniards thought it was a remains of an old volcano.
And it wasn't the first time we ran into some name origin tales that caught us off guard.
And they came up with the name Wolfart.
Yes, Wolfart. It's a German name that received more than a few laughs.
There was a bird that kept flying around that kept saying something like, kee, kee, kee.
Rumor is, from all the locals, that it did get its name from a card game called Coon Can.
Not the heinous.
A common mistake, but wrong.
And remember, there's no anus in Dehennis.
I never messed that one up again, out of respect for the fine folks of Dehennis, which, if you were curious, was founded by the famed Henry Castro and originally named Dihani. As we often do, we put our Texas spin on it. But it turns out it wasn't the only town in the area that's been mispronounced.
The ones that we usually hear are Jordanton.
Or as it was today with an out-of-town caller.
Jordantown.
Which is wrong.
Which is totally wrong.
What do you think about green?
Green? I think it's very green and beautiful.
And they just went, oh, Miko.
And for the record,
no, it is not Miko.
It's Von Army. It's pronounced with an A.
Born, Bernays.
Bjorn, Burn. They always say born.
We tell people weekend at Bernie's or Bernie. That's how you pronounce it.
I think we can all agree that the odd vowel structure of the German language can be a bit challenging. But as it turns out, the German settlers to the area were also good at understanding irony.
They called it Camp Comfort, thinking it was going to get easier and better, and it didn't. And so they named it, they dropped the word camp, and they went to comfort because there wasn't any.
Ironic indeed. And while we're on the topic of literary devices, It turns out that back in the 1800s, spelling was a bit of an issue for some of our local, county, and state officials.
Back in the old days, not everybody could read or write or spell.
Leaving us with what we see today.
It wound up being Dimmitt, D-I-M-M-I-T. They dropped the second T.
But when the paperwork came back, it officially declared the town as Divot. So Pivot had to pivot and stick with Divot.
Post office dropped the E and added an A.
Yes, Natalia should have been Natalie. Natalie was the daughter of famed engineer Dr. Frederick Pearson, who was the designer and financer of Medina Dam. In a tragic twist, he died along with his wife in the sinking of the Lusitania, an event that propelled the United States into World War I. And if you thought the connection to presidents and world events ended there, you'd be wrong. In fact, many area communities have had some direct ties to presidents.
Some pretty recognizable names have lived in Cotulla through the years, including a U.S. president who was a teacher here at the Wellhausen Elementary School, which is now the LaSalle County Appraisal District.
That president was Lyndon B. Johnson. One of the early landowners in this area was Charles Taft, the 27th President William Howard Taft's half-brother. He would build the famous Taft Summer House, and as the legend goes, complete with oversized bathtubs for his portly brother. A house that was later moved and used by former Texas Governor Dolph Briscoe. Another big name, one of many we discovered along our journeys.
And Poteet has another claim to fame. It is the birthplace of George Strait. He was born here at this hospital, which has long since shut down.
Jeff Bezos' grandparents also owned a ranch near Cotulla. Meet Count Norbert von Army, an Austro-Hungarian nobleman who came into money and grew tired of Europe. And Freetown's jail, too, still stands. The second floor cells holding some famous outlaws.
My understanding is Jesse James and Frank James spent the night there.
It's a former military installment with a rich history. Charles Lindbergh even landed here. For its size, Uvalde boasts an impressive list of hometown celebrities. Of course, you have Matthew McConaughey.
Legend had it was actually John Wilkes Booth had survived and was able to escape after assassinating President Lincoln and settled here in Bandera.
We can't confirm that, but if you dove to the bottom of Canyon Lake, you'd probably find evidence of Hancock and Cranes Mill, both towns that have disappeared from the map. That was also the fate of Pali, a town named after famed Tejano Jose Policarpio Rodriguez.
And you compare him to the guy from Tennessee who killed 10 bears. Well, he killed almost that many on this first trip to the valley here.
And over the years, the stories kept coming. St. Hedwig is the patron saint of Silesia. It's hard to imagine that in the early 1900s, this small town was known as the Saratoga of the South, a nod to Saratoga, New York, because of all things, the spa industry. No, there's no mythical monster amongst the trees. Rather, the town's namesake is this colorful character, William Bigfoot Wallace.
Panna Maria after the Virgin Mary. Panna Maria in Polish means young girl.
And so he said, Montana is just not the name for this place. I'm going to name it after Sir Thomas More's Utopia, the perfect place to be.
A perfect name. And ask any resident from any of these towns, and they'll tell you they live in the perfect place with a name that generates plenty of pride and provides for some interesting history. For KSAT Explains, I'm Justin Horn.
And still ahead on the Nightbeat, kids are getting a new education and cafeteria menu thanks to the school's newest program. We take you to their garden after the break. Welcome back. A local charter school is teaching in a hands-on way using fruit, vegetables, and plants. Students are getting their hands dirty, learning about what they eat and picking up life skills along the way. Our Rocky Garza visited the campus to see how farm-based learning is helping students grow in more ways than one.
For farm manager Renee Garcia, the future of kids' health is important.
A lot of our students don't know where their food comes from or what nutrition looks like.
That's why she's a passionate supporter of the farm at Idea Monterey Park. She says it's opened students' eyes to new foods they may never heard or tried before, adding it allows them to mix up their food palette. Kids are also given the chance to learn about the science of farming and how it plays into everyday life.
So they learn a lot of sciences here on the farm, which help them in the classroom. So they're getting like more real experiences with things that they read in books or learn online, but in hands.
Seniors Alex Contreras, Azul Monsibais, and Angel Martinez are among those living the farm lifestyle. The trio says they enrolled in a floral design class to learn more about the farming cycle and to get a certificate from the USDA, which they say allows them secure scholarships and enhance their resume. Beyond the plants, vegetables, and fruits, students are also using their new farm skills in everyday life.
It feels good because you go, like you said, you go to families or friends or someone close to you and you tell them or like ask them if they're having trouble with plants or whatever, and you help them because they're teaching us something.
Also at home, I mean, my dad plants a lot of plants, like he has a lot of plants. So like I help him take care of them. I used to like just like not really care, but now that I'm in this class, like I really like enjoy it.
And students say being able to be on the farm to grow fruits and vegetables like this, it's what makes the experience fun, because they're able to feed their fellow classmates healthy food. Rocky Garza, KSAT 12 News.
And taking a look at live cam, it's a nice 83 degrees Saturday, but it was a very hot Saturday afternoon. Record-breaking temperature, Shelby.
I know, and the entire time I just kept thinking that watermelon would have been so delicious on a day that was so warm today. In fact, traditionally in the entire month of October, we should only see about 6 days at or above 90 degrees. Today marked our 15th day of 90 degrees. Will we have more? I'll tell you what you need to know coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Your time 11:10 this evening, and today there's the Jonas Brothers are in town.
Yes, I know a few KSAT employees are going.
Concert, apparently sold out or close to selling out. There was a beer festival.
Yep.
There was tacos and tequila. There was Luminaria, and I say all that to say, what a great day to be at work.
And I'm glad everyone's spending it with us.
Yeah, exactly. What's that Jonas Brothers song? It's heating up or burning up? Burning up. There it is.
Because you need to send an SOS because we're still going to have the burning up conditions tomorrow.
Nice. Nicely done. Way to put a bow on it.
So we've seen the warmer conditions persist throughout the last month and a half for most of us in San Antonio. And that's because we've had that area of high pressure just sit over Texas. And don't worry, the one we did see finally left, but we have another one making its way closer to San Antonio. And with that, sadly, it is looking like our drought conditions are going to continue to persist for San Antonio, but also seeing more drought conditions having the possibility of developing. Now, I say this because tomorrow there is that chance of a fire risk for San Antonio. It is going to be elevated. So going up from Fredericksburg down to Pleasanton, Uvalde, up to Austin, and even in LaGrange. And I say this because as that cool front moves through tonight into tomorrow morning, we're going to see some low relative humidity values, and the winds are going to be a little stronger, and those winds are going to be the main threat. Even then, I know I showed this earlier, but still 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts being possible tomorrow afternoon, and even really tomorrow day, really starting about that 4 to 6 a.m. time frame, continuing until the evening time. Now, the good news is tomorrow our temperatures are expected to be a little on the cooler side, at least just by a few degrees, sitting in the 80s. 87 degrees expected to be our peak temperature for most of us in the afternoon. Still seeing those beautiful clear skies. So although it's still going to be a little breezy for most of us, it's still going to be a beautiful day for us in San Antonio. But not only that, we're also tracking some cooler temperatures in the morning, especially 7 a.m. Temperatures waking up in the 60s, but we're going to continue to see the cooler temperatures really stick around. Take a look at Monday morning. 59 degrees reported to be our morning temperature in San Antonio Monday. Even in the hill country, you're waking up in the mid to low 50s for most of us. Now, sadly, the 50s aren't going to stick around for most of us. We're bumping back up to the 60s as we head throughout the rest of the week. Not really feeling fall-like conditions, sadly. I know a lot of people want to see it. Just keep in mind, although it is still going to be sunny and breezy tomorrow, there's still that heightened chance of fire weather tomorrow and on Monday.
And then the chances of a cool front. correct?
Technically, the cool front's tonight.
Tonight, okay.
But
I'll make sure to step outside after the newscast. Yes. Enjoy it while I can. Thank you, Shelby. Friday Night Lights, high school action, a lot of action going on this Friday and Saturday.
Yes, exactly. And I'm sure the football players are enjoying the cooler temperatures, or at least at night, not earlier in the day. Week 8, we have highlights between Madison and Johnson, Clark versus Brandeis, and Sotomayor going head-to-head with Taft. Also, the Cowboys get set to try and get right versus the Commanders. That's coming up after the break. We are more than halfway through the high school football regular season. This afternoon at Comalander Stadium, Johnson trying to stay undefeated, hosting Madison. All right, we go to the first quarter. Madison senior QB Chase Allen has Baylor commit Jordan Clay downfield, and Allen airs out a dime to the end zone. A great catch by Clay. Mavericks catch the Jags on their heels to take an early lead. Later, Allen drops back, but the pocket concaves. Loose ball, and Johnson junior Dalen Rainey dives on top of it. Jags take over, and it's junior QB Elvis Estrada with the TD connection to Braylon Allen. The freshman receiver is a star in the making. Johnson would take control of this game, winning 52-14, improving to 7-0. Now, it was a toasty one out there today. Fans staying shaded at the Gus for a top 10, 12 top 12 matchup between number 5 Clark and number 6 Brandeis. Clark is undefeated coming in. Brandeis leading 10-0 in the second half. Broncos QB Winter Smith escapes the pocket, throws on the run to sophomore Elaine Watkins, who climbs the ladder for the catch at 17-0. Then senior Jaron Morris gets the pitch and bulldozes his way across the goal line to pay dirt. I mean, good luck bringing that guy down. Later, Clark trying to get something going, but instead Rosendo Hernandez picks off Isaiah Santillan's pass, and Hernandez houses it for the pick six. Now Brandeis pitches the shutout in this one, 30-zip. Back at the Gus for the nightcap, number 10 Sotomayor and number 10 Taft going head-to-head. First drive of the game, catch junior QB Chauncey Moon with an impressive piece of running right here to carve up a pass straight to the end zone. Sotomayor takes a 7-0 lead. Now next drive was a beautiful ball from to David Aguirre that got the Raiders in enemy territory. Then senior QB Tucker Vogel keeps it himself up the hash, zigzags his way through the defense and across the goal line to tie up the game. Now the final from this one, Sotomayor wins 34-31. Other game in action tonight, Sabinal beats Dehennis 49-14. Coming up tomorrow, the Cowboys take on the Commanders. It's a 3:25 kickoff. The Cowboys will try to make do without Trayvon Diggs. And Monday Night Football, Texans out west taking on Seattle. We'll preview that game tomorrow at 5:30. We'll be right back after the break.